I have been trying to film this video for literally weeks, and for some reason I just keep putting it off. I just can't ever get up the energy to turn on the camera and do it. So today, this evening, I forced myself to do it because my plan was to do it earlier in the day, and then I just kept procrastinating, and then finally I was like, no, Bryony, we're gonna do it. This isn't even like some particularly dramatic video. I'm filming it in probably the worst possible lighting spot because I have two different light bulbs in my bedroom. One is like this kind of yellowy glow and one is this like daylight bulb, so I look half yellow, half ghost at the moment. But I just need to get this video done because honestly, like, I keep thinking I want to do it and then can never put the words in the right order, and I just decided to say, screw it, I'm just gonna set the camera up, start filming and see what happens. I think basically the general message of this video is I have just had it with the world at the moment and with COVID, just like all of us. But I thought it might be good to kind of sit down and talk about how it's impacted me and my mental health and my life, and then you guys could use this as maybe a space to share how you're feeling down below, because I feel like conversations like this can be really helpful. And I think we're just all in a very similar place right now. So a couple of months ago, I did a video on, I think it was titled I'm Struggling, which was to do with how like I'd felt about the COVID restrictions and everything. Since I filmed that video, oh boy, has a lot happened over here in the United Kingdom. So I figured I'd kind of pick up where I left off with that video and talk about what's been happening the last couple of months and what impact that's had on me. So back in November, we saw a rise in cases in the UK, and we had a month-long lockdown, which was kind of like the beginning of our second wave that we're still kind of currently in. However, we came out of that in early December and then went into a tiered system. We then, just before Christmas, ended up back in a stricter tier for where I live in London, because there was a new rise of this new variant that was the Kent variant that has become like the British variant now, and it's more transmissible and it affects younger people as well, and it seems to be more deadly too. Not going into any of the specifics of this is not a COVID like educational video. This is just kind of like basically what I've managed to remember from the last few months because so much has changed. So we had this new variant, Christmas got cancelled, so it was just me and my parents and my little fosterling that I had at the time, and that was all right, but again, we usually have like nice family Christmases, and I'm sure for a lot of people that was really disappointing. In the beginning of January, however, they realised that this new variant was so out of control that it couldn't be controlled by having any sort of lightening of restrictions. We had to have a full-on lockdown. So it is now the, oh gosh, what is it? It's the 26th of March, and we are still in the lockdown that we went into at the beginning of January. This is why the UK was so keen to roll its vaccines out as quickly as possible as well, because we knew we just could not get out of these restrictions without those vaccines, because this variant is just so transmissible. So everything closed down, schools closed as well, which that was the last thing they wanted to do. They opened for like a day and then they closed them down. It's really ridiculous. But yeah, so everything went to standstill and has been ever since. And then since the 8th of March, we've started to open up again. So schools went back on the 8th of March. And then from the 29th of March, which is, I'm filming this on a Friday evening, so next Monday, we have some restrictions that are loosened again. So for example, parent and child groups can meet up to 15. You can sit in somebody else's garden and have a coffee. You can currently go and have a picnic in the park, whereas before the 8th of March you could only walk with someone for exercise. That was all you were allowed to do in terms of like any socialising. And I think there's a few other things that open up on the 29th of March, but not really that much. The next big opening we have is the 12th of April. That's when like retail can open, hairdressers can open, and also what else can open? And also outdoor dining can open, so pubs and restaurants that can have any sort of outdoor space that they either had before or they can create and put tables outside, they can start serving drinks and food. So I think from that date things are going to feel a little more normal. We're going to have a little bit more options what we can do. Also from next week we can kind of travel a bit more. So at the moment we have to stay in our area, but from next week we can go a bit further afield. So basically we've been living with some pretty tough restrictions for quite a while, and I'm sure some of you watching will be in the same boat. in various parts of the world, whether you live here or elsewhere. And I think we can all just agree that we have had it. We have had enough of this virus and we just want it done now. I've had my first jab back in January. I was very lucky because of my role as a foster carer. I was entitled to it. And my second dose is in 2 weeks' time. I think it's on the 5th of April. So fingers crossed that goes well, although I am kind of prepared for this next one to have side effects the next day or two afterwards. And I've cleared my diary out so that I can just, you know, be a lazy thing in bed for that time. But I think really what made this lockdown so much harder was we'd already been through one. We already knew how awful it was going to be. And the weather it's winter, so it's been cold. The weather's been bad. There was a couple of days where it was absolutely freezing. And I've just, for me, found that I've had no creative energy. Like, in theory, I have ideas for videos I want to do, but just no will to do them. Like, to even sit down and turn this camera on today, like I said, it was such an effort. I had to force myself to do it. And I enjoy talking on camera. I enjoy sharing my views and opinions and my thoughts and things I'm excited about, or reviews on things that I've got. And I've just really, really struggled. I have. And it's so frustrating because this is something I usually love, but COVID has just sucked it out of me, and it's just drained me, not being able to see friends and hang out, not be able to go to events. I'm not even that sociable a person usually, but over the last couple of years, I've kind of built up a new social network from fostering and from my work and everything. Since 2017, actually, I've done a lot more traveling with my work, and I've really made an effort to get out there more because I've suffered as a result of my Lyme disease from agoraphobia. So I've really tried to push myself out my comfort zone, get used to being out and about more. And it's worked. I've done really well with that. And there's a bit of me that fears this is going to set me back. And so there's that part of my brain too. And I think we're all just struggling with the general feeling of bleh that COVID has created for us. I'm sure for some of you out there, actually, COVID's been a dream, you know, that you love kind of being in lockdown and everything. I've seen some people that have really enjoyed it. But for me, the first one was okay. It was kind of like, oh, this is a new experience. This is our war equivalent. At least there aren't bombs dropping on us. You know, we're very lucky from that perspective. We just have to stay inside. And I'm, you know, very privileged that my home is a safe place to be. And I was with my parents for the first one. But this one was just so much harder because I wasn't fostering the first time, but I was fostering this time. Obviously, I couldn't move in with them. And also in January, the cases were so high that although I was entitled to have a support bubble with my parents, we agreed that due to something that happens with fostering is called contact, which is where children have contact with their birth families. Due to that happening, we just decided the risk was far too high and we had to stop it. So I was basically just me and my little fosterling here for the entirety of January, just kind of so isolated. Because in normal circumstances, you know, there are groups you can go to. We can only go for a walk. That was it. Me and little one could go for a walk and that was it. And that was really, really difficult. And I kind of sometimes felt like I was clinging on my fingernails through that, but we did get through it. But January was very, very tough. February I was able to start my support bubble again, and I am currently childless, so it's just me and there's nothing I can really go and do. I'm again isolated. I do still have my parents who have now both thankfully had their vaccines too. We've all now had a dose and are now 3 weeks along, so I feel like that's one weight kind of off my shoulders, because I was concerned for myself with my Lyme and whether it would affect me seriously, but I was far more worried about my parents because I'm very close to my parents and I didn't want anything to happen to them. And so, like, the fact that they've now had some doses, that's given me a sense of relief and like a weight off my chest too. So that was really good. But now I'm kind of readjusting to it just being me again and being on my own, and it's so quiet. Because normally I could have planned things to have had like friends come over or to go out and have gone on trips out or stuff, or to go and done things, and I can't. There's none of that here, so it's just really, really quiet. And I'm quite looking forward to next week when some of our, because parent and child groups starting up again, that means some of our fostering groups can start up, and I think I'll have a bit more socialisation then, even if it's outdoors. Hopefully the weather will stay all right. But that's just another thing that's kind of really held me back. And so it's tricky because, as I said, the creative juice is just being drained by COVID and all those situations around it together just mean like I know I've got work that I could be focusing on, I could be putting more attention into, but I just don't have the mental energy to do that. I've got the time, I've got tons of time, but just no will to do it. And that's really hard to put up with. So I'm usually quite good with my mental health. And I say, do you know what? This week is tough. I'm going to give myself the week off. We're just going to laze around, eat tons of takeaway food, which I have deliberately hidden off camera on a tray over here. You know, I've just given myself a week off. I've gone, you know what, it's been a tough time recently. We're gonna have this week off. We're gonna, you know, feel our grief. We're going to feel the frustration with the situation in the world. We're just going to watch stuff that we want to and just binge watch things. But I've also spent quite a lot of time with my parents this week, and that's been really helpful because it's just the only place I can go to is to their house. And so we've still gone for walks, we've gone for drives and trips out in the car. But as I said, we're very limited in what we can do, and so that's been a new experience to go through. And I'm hoping that this video is also part of like a kickstart for me with getting back into a routine of film and getting back into my work next week. And yeah, kickstarting all those things. I do have a review coming up for a pushchair that I was sent to review after some of you guys requested it. So I've got that coming up, and I also have a video that I'm doing a collaboration with a wonderful lady called Elima, and she is running this fantastic charity that is taking cloth menstrual pads out to girls in Sierra Leone, and I want to talk to you about that in more detail and share details about how you can get involved and stuff, because I think a lot of you guys would be interested in that. So I have got these ideas and these videos to do. It's just, like I said before, the creative juices are just not there, and I'm sure, you know, some of you can relate to that, to just feeling like you haven't got the energy to do it. So I just wanted to share that, you know, I'm in the same boat if you are feeling that way. I think we're all here, and I'm just fingers crossed hoping that we will follow the roadmap that we currently have in the UK, at least, out of lockdown, that we do continue with our vaccination programs. And please, if you do get called to get vaccinated, have it. We are not getting out of this mess until we have a significant proportion of the population inoculated, so it's very important. Like I said, I've already had mine. I wouldn't tell you to do something I wouldn't do myself, and hopefully my second one goes okay too. I do appreciate that I've just kind of rambled in this video and haven't really talked about anything specific or given you some great insight, but I just wanted to sit down and have like a conversation, because that's how I feel like my channel rolls. Is by having a conversation with you guys, and hopefully you feel that kind of personal aspect of my channel. I'm not a big sales place. I just give like my real views and opinions, and you know, I do focus on women's health and stuff, and it's been tricky the last year or so because I haven't had a period. Actually, it was March last year that I decided to go to the doctor and request to go on the pill to stop my periods, and that was a really great decision I made for my own life and health and everything. And it's just a shame I haven't been able to properly experience the benefits of not having to plan things around my period as much, because it's now I don't have one. But I do continue to want to talk about these issues. So if there are any videos in particular you want around periods, you know, sexuality, women's health, just well-being in general, do let me know, as always, in the comments below. And because I might need some kickstart of some ideas as well, just to get the creative juices flowing again once, you know, my brain sort of switches on. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Do please subscribe. I am still aware of this channel. I am still planning to do videos for you guys. It's just I'm in a bit of a slump at the moment. And yeah, well, that's what all this rambling was about. Oh, one other thing just wanted to make you guys aware of. If you don't already follow me on Instagram and you'd like to, I have just changed my Instagram name. So I changed my YouTube channel from Precious Stars Pads to Precious Stars Vlogs a while ago, but for some reason I decided not to change my Instagram at the same time, which I have now done. So it's now at Precious Stars Vlogs if any of you want to follow me over there. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.